A long time ago, there was a captain in an army. And this captain, he had skin that was just dying. It was falling off of him, sloughing off of him. And he knew that he was dying too, that it would be only a matter of time before this disease took his life. But this captain, he had acquired an Israelite slave girl. And strangely enough, although he had taken her from her homeland, she cared about this captain by the name of Naaman. And Naaman, he knew that his time was short, and so did the Israelite slave girl. But the one thing she also knew was that there was something better than a doctor in her home country. There was a prophet of God who would be able to heal him. This prophet's name was Elisha, and Elisha lived in Samaria. So she told her master, Naaman, to go to Israel and see this great prophet of God, Elisha. Naaman went to his king and got a letter of approval to go to Israel and seek this curing prophet of God. His king wrote a letter and gave it to Naaman, and Naaman handed it, in return, he handed it to the king of Israel. Well, the king of Israel misinterpreted the letter and thought that the king of this other country that Naaman was from was actually trying to bait him into war by saying, "Oh, you king of Israel, you cure him." But underlying it, the thought was, well, you'll pay if you don't. So the king of Israel, he tore his robe in frustration and anger and fear and everything else that came along with it. Just this idea of inability to do anything. And he said, "I'm not able to cure this guy. Why is he being sent to me? This is some kind of a pretext for war." Well, Elisha heard about what the king had done. And he told the king, "Why did you tear your robes? This is not something that you should be doing. You're a grown man, you know that I'm a prophet, and you just pass this guy on to me and I'll make sure that he gets healed." Well, sure enough, the king said, "I don't want this problem anyhow, so I'm going to go ahead and pass him on to this quirky guy out in Samaria, Elisha, and see what he has to do." So he sends Naaman and his group of men, his posse, if you will, over to Elisha. And Elisha won't really see him directly, but he tells him through a messenger, he tells Naaman through a messenger, "Go and wash yourself in the Jordan 7 times. Well, Naaman was a little bit, took it as an affront. He took it as a sort of a belittling way of being addressed. As a captain of an army, you're used to people coming to speak to you face to face, not sending their messengers to you. So he took offense at Elisha. His friend, and he actually said, "Hey, look, the Jordan, it's a river in Israel, I understand, but there's a couple of rivers in my home country. In fact, in Damascus, there are a couple of rivers that are these really beautiful rivers. Why can't I go bathe in them? I mean, what's the difference? It's just water's water." And his group, his posse, they said to him, "Oh, come on, Naaman. I mean, you've tried everything else. You tried the crystal thing. You tried, chanting. You tried yoga and all this other stuff. And you might as well just give this thing a try." Naaman in his own mind is thinking, what, drop myself in this dirty water? But finally they convince Naaman to listen to Elisha, and Naaman goes into the water 7 times. In and out. In and out. In and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And then on the 7th time he goes in. And he comes out, and the leprosy, the skin disease that had been robbing him of a hope for the future, was completely cured, so that his skin was like a baby's skin. I don't have to tell you that Naaman's experience actually was an experience of a fleshly healing, but of soul healing as well. As he comes out of that water, he realizes that there is only one God, and that is the God of Israel. And he says so much to Elisha. He comes up out of the water and tells him, and he's praising God. He offers Elisha some money, but Elisha doesn't take any. I think the thing that's interesting about this story is that it's not very normal to be told to go wash in dirty water to get clean, and not only clean but completely healed. In fact, medical professionals today would probably tell you that's not a good idea. Don't go in germ-filled water to clean your wound. Make sure that it's clean water, and then after that, use some alcohol and put on a bandage to keep the wound clean. Well, Elisha's offering his instructions to Naaman were really counter-logical. They were something that you wouldn't think of. And Naaman didn't want to do it. And Naaman thought it was stupid and illogical and dumb and useless, and it made him look like a clown or a fool. The God that we serve is a Jordan River God. And he asks us to do things which seem illogical and like they don't fit. But believe it or not, if God calls us to do something, as strange and as odd as it is, he's there in the midst of it. And at the end of the situation, whatever you have to go through, you'll be praising God for the great things that he does.